topic is Java debugging tool. And then first thing we define debugging. So debugging is the routine process of locating and removing bugs, errors, or abnormalities from programs. So it is a must-have skill for any Java developer because it helps to and subtle bugs that are not visible during code reviews or that only happens when a specific condition occurs. The Java Eclipse IDE provides many debugging tools and views grouped in the debugging perspective to help you as a developer debug effectively and efficiently. So next, we have, before we do ng debugging, we need to identify ng errors. So number one, we have example error, yung runtime error. So runtime errors occur, or we can say are detected during execution of the program. So ito yung error na to will happen during runtime. So pag nira natin yung application or in-execute natin yung codes natin, so saka nangyayari yung sinasabing runtime. And then kung may mga mali doon, so that's runtime error. Then next, examples are, we have runtime error caused by dividing by zero, runtime error caused by assigning reviewing value. So these are common errors we encounter during runtime. Then next, we have syntax errors. So these are typically caused by doing a program. So usually we use ng mga quotations or symbols to indicate ng codes natin, or by grouping ng codes. We are using curly brackets, parentheses, comma, periods. So these are very important, including yung mga sinasabing spelling. So that's an example of a syntax errors. So missing parentheses yung example, forgetting to import a class, treating a static method as an instance method, and then we have missing curly braces, omitting the break clause from switch statements. And then we have Java types of errors. We have compile time error. So sa compile time error naman, this happens upon writing ng codes. So usually, yung iba, pag mag-code tayo, we use ng mga objects, and then we use ng methods. And then pag gumamit tayo ng mga methods na yun, so we need to meron ng characteristics yung Java na makukuha niya yung error correction doon or options. Nagbibigay na siya ng options para matama mo yung code mo. So yung tawag doon, those are compile time na sinasabi. Hindi pa natin nararan yung program or yung code, pero meron na siyang mga options na binibigay. So yung mga errors doon, usually it will be highlighted with green, with red, or with blue. And the examples are, so we have misspelled variable, we have missing semicolons, missing parentheses, and incorrect format of selection statements or loops. Next, we have Java types of errors. So we have logical errors. So these errors are commonly doon sa developer itself. Pag nagde-develop tayo ng system, so we have to follow ng mga logic, sequences, order of operation. So these are yung mga common na error na magre-reflect doon sa results nung niraran natin. Can you still hear me, sir?
Rinig po kayo, sir.
Okay. So, example, displaying the wrong message, executing incorrect formula, and calling incorrect classes of methods. Then next, quick start debugging. So, ito na yung sinasabing Java debugging tool. So, sa Java debugging tool, we have launching and debugging Java program. So, how to launch ng sinasabing debug perspective. So, what we need is to right click nung class, and then debug as application, or we can use yung shortcut keys, yung Alt plus Shift plus D or J instead, para ma-launch yung sinasabing debug perspective. And then, so this is an example of a debug perspective. So we have the different parts. As what you can see, we have the debug view. We have toggle breakpoints or breakpoints view. Then we have variables expression view dito sa right side. And then we have display view, yung sa bottom. Yung sa gitna pala, display view, sorry. And then yung sa bottom naman, that's the console view na sinasabi. So those sa console view, diyan nakikita yung outputs or yung results ng nire-run nating codes. And then we have breakpoints. So sa breakpoints naman, a breakpoint is a signal that tells the debugger to temporarily suspend execution of your program at a certain point in the code. So the breakpoint view allows you to delete and deactivate breakpoints and modify their properties. And then breakpoints. So breakpoint is a signal that tells the debugger to temporarily suspend execution of your program at a certain point in the code. So usually, ang function ni breakpoints is you can specify ng line and then you can place ng point. So yung program, pag na-reach na yung line na yun, mag-i-stop siya doon. So you can also add ng multiple breakpoints within a class or within your program. So by placing ng breakpoints, I have example dyan yung color blue, and then meron siyang breakpoint sa puppy, may puppy, and yung system.out, .println na naka-highlight din. So that's another breakpoint. So I have placed ng two breakpoints in different lines. And then pag ni-run mo siya, pag in-enable mo yung breakpoint, sa kanya ilalabas yung sa kanya i-execute yung line of codes na yun. So yung output ng program na yan is show you nung paano siya ginagawa. So that's breakpoint. Then stepping commands. So these are stepping commands along with, so habang mo yung program mo, and then you're using ng breakpoints, you can let ng debugger to enter into your methods, or you can get out of that class or can get out of that method. So ang ginagamit na functions are step into, step over, step return, and resume. Or yung control plus R, run to line. So yung functions na to are operational during debugging lang. Or kung nandoon ka sa sinasabing debug perspective view. And then advance to debug complex scenarios. So points, exception breakpoint. So yun yung kanina, and then conditional breakpoints. So watch points. A watch point is a special breakpoint that stops the execution of an application whenever the value of a given expression L changes without specifying where it might occur. User can specify by breakpoint properties if they want the execution to stop when the watch expression is accessed, modified, or both. So, i-enable lang, and then we can use ng suspend thread and then access and modification. Or we can also use ng hit count or trigger point. And then next, exception breakpoints. So an exception breakpoint is specified for thrown exception using add Java exception breakpoints. So ayan naman. So same as doon sa dito sa kabila, yung watch points. So trigger point, hit count, suspend thread, suspend virtual machine. So nangyayari yon, yung suspend virtual machine naman nangyayari yun if you're debugging remotely. Kung naandun kayo sa isang network and then ayun, and then you're debugging remotely. So that's suspend VM. And then next, condition breakpoints. So Eclipse users can create conditions to restrict the activation of breakpoints. So it be returned true. So yun yung example niya. So you can write ng conditions doon sa bottom. Choose a previous entered condition. And then so that's quite short. So ayun ulit, I will turn on my device kasi nag-restart siya eh. Nag-end yung yung operating system na license.
You're done, sir?
Yes, sir. I-configure ko lang yung device. Ililipat ko lang yung connection. Just wait for a while lang po.
Okay. So
Para
while
i-demonstrate ko how debugging tools work.
okay. So while we are waiting with sir additional presentation, I just want to give you some additional inputs regarding the Java debugging techniques, no?
Yes po.
Okay, so production debugging is hard, right? And it's getting harder. So with architecture becoming more distributed and come more asynchronous, pinpointing and resolving errors that happen in production is no child's game, no? There are some advanced techniques that can help get to the root cause of painful bugs in production more quickly. So without adding materials overhead to your already busy production environment. So I think some of you are familiar with better JStacks, no? JStacks has been around for a long time. So about as long as the JVM's been around, no? Yung Java Virtual Machine around. And even to these days remain a crucial tool in every developer's arsenal, no? Whenever you're starting at a Java process that's hung or not responding, it's your go-to tool to see the stack trace of each thread. So even so, Stack has a couple of disadvantages that detract from its ability to help you debug complex issues in production. So the first is that while it tells you that each thread is doing through its stack trace, no, it doesn't tell what UI it's doing it. No, the kind of information usually only available through a debugger, and it doesn't tell you when it started doing it. So we have also comparing the thread printout that contains a description of the actual work being done by the thread, the input parameters passed to it, and the time in which it started processing the request. Okay, so we have also the throughput and deadlock JStack. No? We have also the capturing live variables, where talk about ways of capturing state from the JVM through threads context. No? This approach, however effective, is restricted to variables that you had to format into the thread name in advance. So ideally, we want to be able to go in and get the value of any variable from any point in the code from the live JVM without attaching a debugger or redeploying code. So a great tool that has been around for a while but hasn't got the recognition it deserves. Okay, so we have also btrace. Now btrace, wherein we have the new Aris Java, file tracker Java, class load Java, and so on. Okay, so of course the last technique is of course the native JVM agents. No? The approach uses that JVM T1 C++ API player, which gives you unprecedented control to access into the internal of the JVM. And this includes like getting callbacks whenever GC starts and stops, whenever new threads are spawned, monitors are acquired, and many more low-level capabilities. This is by far the most powerful approach to acquire state from running code, as you essentially running at the JVM level. But with the great power comes great responsibility, as what somebody mentioned, and some pretty complex challenges make this approach relatively harder to implement. The first is that since you're running the JVM level, you're no longer writing in cross-platform Java, but in low-level platform-dependent C++. So the second, that the advantage in the APIs themselves, while extremely powerful, are hard to use and can impact performance significantly depending on the specific set of capabilities you're consuming. So on the plus side, if used correctly, this layer provides terrific access to part of the JVM, which would otherwise be close to us in our search of the root cause of production bugs. So when we began writing, for example, the KIPE of production debugging, so we knew the extent to what TI would play a crucial role in our ability to build the tool. So the reason for that is that through the use of this layer, you'll able to detect exception, calls into the OS or map applications code without manual user instrumentation. So if you have the time to take a look with us a different API layer, so it highly recommended as open unique window into the JVM not many of us know. Okay, sige sir, are you ready now?
Ito yung sinasabing uh, debug perspective po. So nandito yung these are example classes created by me. So I have Papi, and then so I have inserted ng breakpoints dito sa Papi na object, and then I have inserted also breakpoint dito sa system.out.println. So ang nag-appear dito sa breakpoints na view, nandiyan yung naka-breakpoint yung line 20, naka-breakpoints doon sa line 20, and naka-breakpoints doon sa line 28. And then once it is executed, so for example, I'll remove nung breakpoint doon sa baba, yung system.out.println. So uncheck. So click mo lang para ma-uncheck. And then pag na-click mo, so na-uncheck na yung breakpoint. So next, you're going to run lang yan ulit. So click yung run and then run as, or I mean, click run and then so yung breakpoint, so nakita diyan, name chosen is Tommy, puppy's age is 2. So yun yung naka-set up sa object. And then breakpoint, so yung breakpoint niya is 2, yung nailagay na breakpoints. And then variable value is 2 din para doon sa age. Pero yung sa baba, so ayan, so balik dito sa Project Explorer. So nasa debug perspective tayo, pinakita niya yung number of breakpoints. So we can run ulit noon by clicking ng debug and then debug as. So yung program na dinidebug natin ay yung puppy. So click yung puppy. And then in-execute niya yung breakpoint sa line 20 as you can see doon sa debug view doon sa left side. Copy that main string line 20. And then ay, okay. So So actually wala siyang output na ilalabas. Kasi yung debugging method natin is until calling lang ng class. And then ni-represent lang natin siya as object. So hindi naman tayo nag-proceed doon sa bottom line kasi nag-break na siya doon sa class, ano pa lang, class na part. Yung sa bottom hindi niya nagagawin. In order na umandar yung line of code, so you can also you can place ng other breakpoints doon. So for example, how to place ng breakpoints, right click, ayan, right click, and then toggle breakpoint. And then so para makita mo yung changes na ginawa, so what you're going to do is run debug perspective again. And then let's run. So nag-execute siya ulit. So wala na yung kanina, that's line 20.
And then, i-execute niya pa yung sana, aabutin niya hanggang line 31. Doon siya magbe-break after nun. So, in-execute ko siya ulit. So, yung na-execute niya ay yung luma pa rin. Kaya walang lumalabas. So, ito yung sinasabing variables na view. And then, so you can see ng mga variables na nakalagay dyan. So, wala, kasi ito lang yung copy yung na-execute niya. And then, ito naman yung expressions, how many expressions yung nagawa dyan. Ayun, and then, ito yung sinasabing trigger points. Then heat counts, and then you're going to enable lang na itong conditional suspend when true. So wala namang, ayun. So ko munang i-close yung debug para makita natin yung ano. Ayan, tapos close. Then debug as. Ano kayang project? Okay pala. So, ito that's under OOP pala. So, ito yung PAPI. And then you can right click lang din naman yan. Right click. And then debug as Java application. So suppose kasi we have added nung breakpoints. So suppose hanggang line 31 siya pero yung program execution niya hindi naaabot yung line 31 dahil doon sa inalis yung breakpoint doon sa PAPI sa line 28. So we need to push nung lines na yun. And then para magawa, i-run mo siya ulit. So debug as wala. So close muna. Or stop. So stop, tapos ko-close. And then i-run ulit yung application. And then debug as Java application. So for that, sige, i-proceed na lang natin, sir. So we can say na we can go to step into F5. So pag nag-step into tayo, so pupuntahan niya yung method na tinawag natin. So from there, 'di ba, nag cast tayo ng object na puppy, may puppy, new puppy, and then nag-set tayo ng parameter na Tommy. So yung class na to, ang ginawa natin, nag-step into tayo. So pinuntahan niya yung class declaration doon sa ano, this is an embedded class. So pumasok siya doon sa embedded na class na yon, and then pumasok siya doon sa method na yon. I mean constructor pala. Pumasok siya sa constructor nung embedded na class. That's ang ginamit is step into. So we can also step over para malaktawan lang siya, or we can say na step return para bumalik siya, and then ayun. So in-execute niya na yung program. Name chosen is Tommy, and then step over. So pwede na rin lumagpas, and then another step over, and then we can say na we can step into pa rin para pumasok siya doon sa kung saan mang class or method. Ayun. So papasok siya doon. Then we can say na step return para bumalik siya doon sa previous na ginawa. Ayun. So babalik siya, and then we can step into. So we can do it line by line. So puppy's age, step over, step into, step return, wala yung step out. Resume. So to stop nung debugging is just press and terminate. And then close the debugger. So ayun. And then so pwede naman nating i-run yung program as a whole. So pag run, this is a standard run nung or standard execution ng program. So suppose ito yung mga outputs niya. So dun sa code, so doon sa code, nag-display nag-call ng function na Tommy, nag-call ng function na age, and then nag-call ng function na or method na get age. So di-display niya lang yung puppy is, and then dito sa baba nagtagal siya ng pina-display how many breakpoints. Pero suppose 'di ba yung breakpoints is 3. Pero 2 lang yung nilalabas niya. And then system.out.print variable value. May puppy.age. So is 2 din. Yung value ng age or yung na-set nating variable dito. Then pag tinignan natin yung variables. So suppose na sa debug perspective tayo para makita natin how many variables yung na-capture niya. So right click, debug as. So actually it is 'di ba yung sa topic kanina, yung yung testing, black box, white box, or yung unit testing. So we can use ng debug tool na to for checking nung kung proper ba yung natatawag na method. And then makaka-step into tayo doon sa method na yun to check kung appropriate ba yung mga codes na written doon sa method na yun. So that's all. That's how Java debugging tools work. So yung iba kasi hindi ko pa na explore kasi I have limited time.